we are live. It's May 28th, and I am in Christina Lake. I haven't actually got here yet on the walk, but uh, we went a little bit in advance along the route and are staying at this absolutely gorgeous place, which unfortunately, because of my shitty laptop camera, you can't actually see. How bad is this? Like, this laptop is awesome, but for some reason they put this shitty camera in it that can't get the auto scaling right. But anyway, it's awesome. I'll actually shoot uh some good shots of it. I took some this morning and it just absolutely terrific. Ungodly beautiful out here. So the over the last week, May 20th to 27th, did 120 kilometers from Rustic Campground to a place called Prospector Pub in Rock Creek. There was 5 days total of walking, and I actually took 2 days off in a row for the first time since we started in Osoyoos. Partly because, well, I'll tell you, it was quite an ordeal on one of the days, and I needed some time off. It actually made me question my life choices quite a bit. So the first day from Rustic Campground went to a place called Clippers something something. They had like a house where you could stay, which we did, which was terrific. It was awesome. But I also had an orchard and a vineyard and two awesome restaurants. One of them was called Row 14, where I had possibly one of the best meals of my life. It was all like organic from the farm stuff. They had this one thing which was like roasted carrots covered in some kind of like nuts or something. It sounds awful, but it was really, really good. Uh, and we stayed there for a couple days. Uh, and then the next day went to the intersection of Nighthawk Road and Highway 3. Nighthawk Road turns off to go to the United States, but I didn't investigate. Kelly went down, and apparently there's like a whole border thing there. You can't just cross, obviously. But the climb to Nighthawk from Clippers was pretty gnarly. And after that climb, I was really tired. So the next day was to Spirit Ridge, which is a kind of like a resort in Osoyoos, and it's really nice. I've actually stayed there before a long time ago. I went with my family on a vacation to Osoyoos, and uh, I have these two like really ancient tank tops. They're blue and they say Rattlesnake Canyon on the front. And Rattlesnake Canyon is like right around the corner from the Spirit Ridge place where we were staying. And it's kind of like a kids' amusement park. But I so remember going there with the kids. It was like really, really, really hot. And I remember I bought these two tank tops and I still wear them to this day. They're probably, I don't know, like at least 10 years old and maybe more. But Osoyoos is really nice. I have to say that of all the places I've been so far, the only one that kind of balances the natural beauty and a place that I'd actually want to live maybe is Osoyoos. You know, it's big enough to have all the things that you need, but it's still, essentially like it's got all that natural beauty in it, and I really like it there. It's basically a desert, and with all that entails, really dry, hot during the day, cool at night. We ended up staying at the Spirit Ridge for 4 days as I kind of made my way through. And then the next walk went from Spirit Ridge to the intersection of 9 Mile Road and Highway 3. And that climb almost killed me. I swear, it was gnarly. The whole way was up. It was 21 kilometers of straight climb. The vertical gain was about a kilometer, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I don't know how many CN towers you'd have to stack on top of each other to make a kilometer. Just imagine climbing up all of those. It was really hard, and by the end of it, I was pretty beat. Just thought I'd record myself climbing up the big hill because I love it. You know, you'd think that something that was really hard, you like wouldn't like it, but I don't know. I just put my thumb in front of the thing. I kind of like it. It's not a lot to go. That's going to be my ending spot today, and we're in the hills, almost like between Cawley or Cawston. I keep calling it Cawley, Cawston, and Osoyoos. So we're going to relocate to Osoyoos tomorrow, and I'm sure there's going to be a little bit more of this hillage, but that's fine. We make do. And then the last in this segment went from 9 Mile Road and Highway 3 to a place called Prospector Pub, which is in a town called Rock Creek. And that was about 29 kilometers. And by the end of that day, I was really, really done. This area is very hilly. Obviously, it's in the mountains, and there's a lot of up and down. And so, 29 kilometers on a flat surface is not that big a deal. But when you have to go up and down, like all day long, by the end of it, you're like hallucinating and you're passing out. And I haven't actually passed out yet, but I've certainly felt like it several times. Hopefully I won't pass out when I'm like in traffic or something. The area above Osoyoos is on something called Anarchist Mountain, and it's a very odd place. Like, it wasn't what I assumed it would be. It looks very wealthy, and there are all these like statues or like sculptures around up on the mountain. Like, every time there's an intersecting road with the highway, it's like named after an animal, like caribou or elk or deer or something like that. And at every intersection, there's like a statue. I haven't looked into like why they're there or who commissioned them or whatever, but it is a kind of an interesting thing. Yeah, so the last week has been an awful lot of climbing and almost passing out and running out of water and not having enough calories. But yeah, it's been gorgeous. The scenery is just amazing, and yeah, it's the first half of all of the walks are, like they're just great. I get like that runner's high and feel awesome, feel like the freedom of the road, I guess, if I'm going to be corny. And then, at around kilometer 20, it usually starts hitting me that I'm starting to feel really, really tired. And usually I have like an emotion dump around then. I get all emotional. And when I used to do the marathon training and running, I remember like both times that I finished the Vancouver Marathon, at the end of it, I had this massive emotion dump and like started crying and all this. And I think a lot of people do that, especially like in ultras when they're at the end, some kind of like somatic release or something. But I find like that happens to me like basically every time I get to about 20 kilometers. After 20K, I'm too tired, and I just try go into sort of survival mode. But around 20K, I usually get this big emotion dump, which is not unpleasant, actually. It's pretty, it feels cool. Kind of feels like you're more like physically present or something. Yeah, so that's a report on the last week. I wanted to make sure that I did one this week, because it would have been easy to just keep walking. But yeah, I got some good footage from the drones, both at Clippers and at the Spirit Ridge place. And yeah, I hope you like it. For the song, I really haven't. Up to now, I haven't decided. I didn't really think about it much, but I'll pick something, uh, and I'll try to make it kind of like memorably attached to the climb, the climbs. All right, see y'all, folks. Oh, by the way, it's like 30 plus degrees here right now, so if I'm like if I look like I'm sweating, it's because I am freaking hot. Uh, I'm in the shade here, but it's still pretty toasty. Although last night I was absolutely freezing. It's this desert climate. It's although we're not actually in the desert now. I don't know what was going on, but last night it was super cold, and right now it's midsummer kind of temperature. All right, folks. I'll see you next week. Wanted to talk just a little bit about something that I was thinking about quite a bit on the last week, and it's a little bit esoteric, but I've been thinking a lot about reinforcement learning and whether it belongs kind of on the same level of abstraction as some of the fundamental theories of physics. So you've got things like the second law of thermodynamics and quantum mechanics and general relativity. And in some sense, like these aren't just a bunch of equations, they're ways of looking at the world or frameworks within which you can place other theories, ways of thinking about the world, I guess. And reinforcement learning is also like that. It's a set of equations and a bunch of mathy things, but it's also a worldview in some sense. And at the center of this worldview is the idea of agency, which is that there are choices to be made, and there is a chooser of those choices. And the chooser of the choices gets what are usually thought of as observations from the environment in which it lives, and it outputs actions, which are the choices that it makes. And then those actions lead to either good things or bad things. And the idea is that the choices that lead to good things end up sticking in some way. They become part of the agent's behaviors conditioned on the observations. So if it sees a certain pattern of observations and it takes a certain action, it quote unquote learns that taking that action in that environment leads to something good, and it will continue to do those sorts of things most of the time. Of course, there is also a very fundamental idea in that field of a balance between exploitation, which is doing the thing that you know is going to get you something, and exploration, which is trying something new. And you need both of those things in order to maximize the return over time. So the amount of reward that you get over time, if you want to maximize it, you need both. And there are a bunch of things about this that really kind of light up my theoretical physics parts of my brain. One of them is in this picture, the way that it's usually drawn, which I think is figure 2.1 in Sutton and Bardo's book, is there's a box called agent. An agent receives observations from a box called environment, and then it emits actions into the environment. But where those lines are drawn is a fascinating problem, because physics doesn't naturally come with boundaries. So if you look at a physical system, like say a set of spins, you can have like a bulk material that has a bunch of, and make it more specific. Let's say it's like a crystalline lattice of atoms and they all have nuclear spins. So you get this bulk lattice of spins, and there's a lot of them, like 10 to the 20 or whatever. And they're all part of the same system, and that system is part of the world. And the world doesn't come with boundary boxes. So, as a theoretical physicist, if you're going to study a system like that, usually what you do is you artificially draw a boundary around something that you care about. And then you ask, what is the effect of the rest of the world on that thing? And you call that rest of the world the environment. And usually what you do is you do some kind of like tracing operation where you average over the probable states of the environment, and you get some statistical measure of what the environment does to your thing that you care about. But you could have drawn the boundary somewhere else. And in the case of drawing boundaries around agents, it's obviously the case that I can draw a boundary that has more than one agent in it. If I draw a boundary around, I don't know, a town, and I call the town the agent, which I could, why not? There are agents inside the town, which are the people. But even inside the people, there are agents. You have bacteria and viruses and maybe even parasites if you're unlucky. They all have their own motivations and behaviors and actions, and they all agency inside your agent. And then inside those, there are probably agents as well. And you can go all the way down to the bottom and ask, is an electron an agent? In what sense is it an agent? It's clearly something, right? Because it interacts with the environment, and it absorbs information from the environment, and it emits actions into the environment. You might argue that an electron doesn't have any quote unquote choice, but that's a very slippery, dangerous slope, because then you have the question about where does the actual free will or agency or whatever you want to call it arise? What scale does it arise at? Is it 2 electrons? Is it 5? Is it 10 to the 20? Is there a sharp line? If so, why? So I've been thinking a lot about this idea of where the boundaries are in drawing these agents. By the way, there's a very kind of intriguing idea. So imagine you call yourself the agent, and it's everything inside your skin is like the boundary, and the rest of the universe, you think of it as the environment. Well, the way that the diagram works in reinforcement learning, you can just scratch out the words agent and environment and just switch them. So you can think of the entire universe outside of your skin as being an agent, and you can think of yourself as being the environment, and the agent emits actions into the environment, which is in this case you. So you can think of the universe as acting via what you'd usually think of as your observations, the things that enter into your mind or your body or both. You can think of them as actions that the universe takes on you. And when you act, those are the observations that the universe gets. And if you think of the entirety of the rest of the universe as being an agent with a reward, it's an interesting idea to think about what is the reward signal that the rest of the universe gets from the actions that you take. Anyway, these sorts of things I think are underexplored, and I think that theoretical physicists, there's a whole greenfield opportunity to think about the reinforcement learning picture of the world, the framework, as being a peer of the other dominant frameworks in physics, like thermodynamics and quantum mechanics and general relativity and the rest. And I've kind of think, I'm kind of old and my brain doesn't work as well as it used to, but I think maybe I'd like to work on this problem somehow. I'd need to get some young people whose brains actually work to help. But yeah, I think it's an interesting set of notions. Anyway, road thoughts. Just thought I'd record something just so that you can hear the noise. It's so quiet. It's been like nonstop traffic for most of the walk, but I'm in a place now where there aren't a lot of cars, and it's a totally different vibe. Just like hear the crickets. Yeah.
What a beautiful face I have found in this place that is circling all around the sun. What a beautiful dream that could flash on the screen in a blink of an eye and be gone from me. Soft and sweet, let me hold it close and keep it here with me. And one day we will die, and our ashes will fly from the aeroplane over the sea. But for now we are young, let us lay in the sun and count every beautiful thing we can see. Love to be in the arms of all I'm keeping here with me. What a curious life we have found here tonight. There is music that sounds from the street. There are lights in the clouds and his ghost all around. Hear a voice as it's rolling and ringing through me. Soft and sweet, how the notes all bend and reach above the tree. Now how I remember you, how I would push my fingers through your mouth to make those muscles move. You made your voice so smooth and sweet, but now we keep where we don't know. All secrets sleep in winter clothes with one you loved so long ago. Now we don't even know his name. What a beautiful face